My mother was certainly determined to encourage what she calls my natural sense of independence and authority. I was the eldest of 4 siblings, and she certainly did not stop me from being the boss. I was babysitting my younger boys when I was 4 or 5 years of age. So that empowering from the very early stage has certainly been very helpful to me. Occasionally I, compare notes or with other women, and very often we have faced and experienced the same issues, the same degree of cynicism and skepticism on the part of others, and we had to prove ourselves, and we have to overcome the sort of almost inherent lack of confidence that I don't think men experience as much as we do. We all like to be liked, and being criticized is always hard. But you just, you accept it, you fix it when it's legitimate, you ignore it when it's completely gratuitous and frivolous or full of hatred, but you move on. There are not many days when I don't get up thinking life is beautiful. And it has its baggage of hard moments, sorrow, pain, frustrations, but I still think that it's beautiful. And that might be rooted in my education, might be rooted in my faith, it might be rooted in my sort of natural optimism. I used to be hostile to quotas when I was much younger, thinking, why shouldn't we just succeed and participate on our own merits? I think that unfortunately there is such a long way to go, and there is such a gap that targets and quotas and accountability are actually needed in order to bridge that gap. In some countries, women are not as educated as men because sisters are prevented from going to school when their brothers are allowed to go to school. If you look at some of the low-income countries in particular, it is the case. If you look at some of the Middle East countries, it's a different story. Female are very well educated, but for cultural reasons, they're not given access or the same access as their male counterparts to the job market. So it's not a, how would I put it? It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's going to vary depending on countries. But what we see on a cross-country basis is certainly hurdles, discrimination, obstacles on the road of women towards education, towards setting up business, towards accessing finance, towards joining the economy in general. I want them to have a choice. In times of crisis, very often I see women taking the lead, taking the helm and trying to fix it. A good friend of mine who used to be governor of a central bank in Africa used to say, men go to war and women come afterwards to fix it. And it's very often, times of crisis, call the woman. There have been times in my life when it was certainly not perfect, and I'm not a success story. I have succeeded at certain levels, and I have no regret about what I have done. But you cannot get it all at the same time. Over the course of your life, you can succeed in many areas, and you can try not to hurt or not to damage along the way. I think that's most important.